from Slam Diego. San Diego is, I was talking to somebody today, Kristen, and you guys, and you're only, I live in LA, you're not that far from us, but you guys have like the best weather in the world. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Yeah, basically we do.
You do. You do.
It's definitely a nice place to live.
You do. So how can I help you?
Yes, hi, Dr. Cloud. Question for you. When there's been a betrayal in a relationship, and because of the betrayal, the other person, had a history of being betrayed, so they had a reaction that was verbally abusive to the betrayer.
Wait.
And
Hold on a second.
that,
Wait a minute. Stop.
yeah.
I'm getting lost. Okay, person A and person B are in a relationship. What kind of relationship is this?
A romantic relationship.
Are they dating romantic, engaged in a romantic, married romantic?
Engaged.
Engaged. Okay. And so person A betrays person B.
Correct.
And they betrayed them in what way? They stole their wallet and spent their money. They
Infidelity.
Infidelity. Okay. So big betrayal. Okay. So person A betrays person B. Person B, who's had the history of betrayal?
Person B.
Person B. Okay. So this is not the first time they've been betrayed.
Correct. Pretty much
Okay.
most of their relationships, they have been betrayed, but they've worked through their own trauma. But it happened again, basically.
So it's happened not only in life, but in other romantic relationships?
Correct. Yes.
How many?
I would say, let's see here, about 4.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I got it. So what's the question?
So the question is, if both parties want to work it out, but person B, the one that had the PTSD reaction that was unhealthy, feels like
What did
they
that
might
look
be
like?
wanting.
What did that look like?
It looked like slapping and verbal abuse.
Slapping and verbal abuse. Like one slap? 2 slaps?
Probably, I'd say about let's total it about 3 over the course of about.
Kind of got the
4
news
days.
and just kind of went crazy and slapped out at this person and got over it, and then called them names.
The person kept trying to hide. Yeah, the person kept trying to hide and lie about it. So that triggered person B to continue to have like post-traumatic reactions, which of course they take responsibility for. But
that's what I was going to ask. So sort of after
the
post-traumatic reaction, which I have seen. I've been, in everything from, oh gosh, sometimes when people have PTSD reactions, I mean, even for therapists, it can get dangerous and they get triggered and they don't know what they're doing really. And I mean, I've been hit, I've been kicked, I've been, had furniture thrown at me, I've been kicked in the face, I've been punched, and then they'll kind of come out of it, right, and go and really feel bad, but it does happen,
right?
So B did this,
so how
and then
does
B feels bad, and then what?
So B feels bad, and then A basically doesn't know the person that betrayed doesn't know if they can trust person B not to react that way again. Person B is willing to forgive person A, and A is willing to forgive person B.
Hold on a second. Person B is willing to forgive person A, which is good. Forgiveness is good.
Correct.
But person B wants to trust person A again.
Right. Person A and B both would like to reconcile the relationship.
Okay, but what's changed in the betrayer?
The betrayal happened to be issues at the beginning of their relationship, right when they were first dating that they didn't disclose. And then
Oh, it wasn't after
apparently
the
person,
engagement. It wasn't after the engagement.
right, right. But they have like pornography issues that were pretty serious as well. So that was hurtful to person B as well.
Okay.
Yeah, after
All right.
the engagement.
So
Yeah.
so then give me the question. I really don't know. It doesn't sound like what's different. What's happened other than the betrayer wants to be forgiven and wants to move on. But what's changed in person A?
In person A, they basically agreed to like get help, surround themselves with accountability. They want want help, and they're willing to go get it, and they've taken steps to go get it.
Okay.
And
right.
person B basically wants to know, because they have done trauma therapy, and they don't know how to basically help person A understand what happened. Person A just kind of thinks that maybe they have a deep problem, and they're kind of scared of person B because of the attack.
Have they ever attacked anybody before or since?
No, they have not. It was the first time that they've physically attacked. Yeah.
Yeah. Is person B getting trauma therapy? Good trauma therapy?
Person B has had trauma therapy before, throughout the years, and anything, name it, any spiritual or emotional practice that they've been through. So they don't really understand where that deep anger came from, and they've even sought God, and they're not quite sure why they reacted the way that they did, but they don't want to be shamed or guilty over it, and then they don't want to put shame.
Are you
on the
kidding
other person,
me?
so.
Seriously, I would love to talk to person B and say, look,
Mm-hmm.
if you've been cheated on 4 times and you had a reaction to this and you don't know where it came from,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem like a large leap to say that it came from that you've been deeply wounded 4 times and it's not quite
Right.
healed yet, and it's not quite well, and that's
Mm-hmm.
totally understandable. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would say a few things to person B. I'm much more concerned about person B here. Much
Mm-hmm.
more concerned about person B in this way, that look, they're coming out of a wounded place. And so
Mm-hmm.
they are the victim here. And so they really deserve some understanding and some empathy. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that they
Mm-hmm.
need to be told that, look, if you've had all of this woundedness, it's not unreasonable for you to not be fully healed yet. It doesn't mean your past therapy and help wasn't good. It just means it's not finished. Okay. So what
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage them to get back in some really, really good help in this and the other. Number one. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, I am really, really concerned about person B's people picker.
Mm.
When you have
Mm-hmm.
picked, and I'm not, this isn't a pejorative statement, but it's just true that there's some blind spot
Mm-hmm.
in, or a certain kind of person that they might be attracted to, or at least something that they're probably not seeing some warning signs or whatever. I would really want them to begin to look at why, and I'm not saying that they should have seen it coming, even though a lot of times it was there to be seen, right? Not all
Mm-hmm.
times. I mean, there are some great deceivers in the world, but I would think they're probably, because they've got a pattern of being wounded by a certain kind of person, they might have a blind spot and be attracted to a certain kind of person for unresolved issues. It's like the
Mm.
codependent's
Okay.
always attracted to a drug addict. They always are, and they don't know they're a drug
Mm-hmm.
addict. They're always attracted to an alcoholic or whatever. It's just this unconscious kind of magical thing where these two people attract like magnets. And I would want them to really work on work on their their intuition, they're trusting their gut, they're learning
Mhm.
patterns of behavior in people that are like that so they can spot them sooner. I'm not saying
Mhm.
they're totally innocent. I get it. They're the victim. I'm not blaming the victim, but you can grow in your ability to spot untrustworthy people. And I would want that for them.
Right. Well, if the thing is, the person in general is trustworthy, they've just been used to hiding, their
Wait a minute.
entire life because of their image.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait. Who's trustworthy?
Yeah.
Who's trustworthy?
Person A, I would say in general is a trustworthy person. Um, and the thing is that they've had to hide, they've had a lot of shame in their life, and so they're used to hiding behind like a good Christian image, and so it's their first time they actually feel like they can be like seen in a lot of
Oh,
ways.
great. If they're
And
coming to the
so
light and they're hanging out in their light and they're in
yeah.
so much light that they're getting sunburned, then offer them a little suntan lotion and keep hanging out. But until they have really gone through some significant, recovery in this area. Look, they have a porn addiction and they cheated on
Mhm.
somebody, and so that
Mhm.
those aren't unfixable. They're just things that person B would want to make sure that there's enough of a healing and a track record to where they really want to invest
Right.
their heart because somebody's really clean and
Right.
sober now. That's all I'm saying. You got to earn
So
this
what would
trust.
be yeah, what would your right, what would be your suggestion as far as, because they both feel like they want to forgive and give trust again and start on a new page, right? What would be the process between, giving the trust because you've forgiven and you're choosing to believe the best about them versus earning it again from both parties, and what are some steps to take towards that?
Okay. Well, again, I think they're a little different. I think
Mhm.
I I think I don't really have a hard time trusting person B.
Mhm.
I mean, they're wounded. Now, what I might say is I have great empathy for you, and I want to support your healing in your PTSD. And
Mhm.
if I'm certain that I'm never going to betray you, which I should be, right? Then,
Mhm.
and I love you, and you're sorry that you did something that you didn't even have control over anyway, and you are actively pursuing healing and you're showing fruits of that healing,
Mhm.
and you've got a robust above
Mhm.
the waterline life, which means you're actually maybe ready for a relationship, then I'm fine with you. But what would they look
Mhm.
for? They'd look for the person seeking their healing, they're seeking getting well. How would you marry
Mhm.
somebody who's how would you marry somebody who's a diabetic? Well, you marry
Mhm.
somebody who's a diabetic who takes responsibility for their illness, and they carry their glucometer and they take their blood tests, and they manage their insulin levels and all that, so they have a pretty normal life. If somebody's not willing to do all of that, I don't know what this life is going to look like if you're always not taking responsibility for your illness, and that's a different issue. But if they're
Right.
getting help and they're getting
Well,
healing and all of that, then then
yeah.
then they're trustworthy. On the other side of the equation, then I would want them in some
Mhm.
sort of therapy. I would want them to be self motivated in it. I would want them to be pursuing it, like you're saying, the accountability groups and all that kind of stuff. And I would want it sustained over time. And I wouldn't want to be the one that has to make them go. And I would want them to
Sure.
really,
Do you
really
think
be
that you
living out a life
right.
of active healing. So that's it.
Right. Do you think that if it was one episode of the abuse, just one like the person's entire life, just the one episode, do you think it's PTSD, or could it have just been a really bad reaction in general
Well, PTSD has a very
from anger?
specific list of symptoms. You I mean, look, post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? You got a whole
Mhm.
bunch of stuff that goes with that, but let's just call this, I've been hurt so many times, this really hurt me deeply and I lost it for a moment. Why don't we call it that? I don't know if they have
Mhm.
PTSD or, but
Right.
so,
Right.
but the
Mhm.
but they need healing. I don't know how. I'd
Yeah.
have to, I'd have to talk to him. Okay, I got to run. It's a great question. Look, the
Okay.
bottom line is this. Um, both of these people could have a great future with each other, but that is going to require both of them, person B, turning into, through a lot of healing, turning into where I've broken my ankle 4 times, but now it's healed and strong enough where I can skip through life and without limping and falling down. I'm getting well, right? I'm ready for a relationship. I can trust again. So when they've had enough healing to where they're kind of above the waterline and they can have enough, then sure, why not? Person A, when they've really started to face their addiction and they can be more into a real human connection than a connection with pornography, which is exiting the real human world, and they're in recovery and they're working on this and the other, and they are a zealot for getting healthy, and that has a sustained track record to it, then of course they can be trustworthy. Anybody can be trustworthy if
Mhm.
they've earned it. If they've earned it. So I would go to my
Mhm.
book, Necessary Endings, and there's a list
Mhm.
of about 7 steps in there to know when to trust and when you can't. And I've got a bunch of stuff on boundary.me about this if you go look. So it is a
Great.
great question. Spent a lot of time on it, unfortunately, for some people who are waiting, but I love your framing of it. I love the question. I love the dilemma because it is a good dilemma because I want people to be forgiven and be trusted and and have good relationships, and we always pull for that. But to do it, it's got to be done in a sober way. And that means that it's got to make sense because people are doing the things that make them trustworthy. Okay?